In this video I'm going to show you how to use the Aquarelle to Photoshop action. So the way the action works is you open up your photo, you simply brush your subject with a color and just play the action. So here's the effect that the action creates. As you can see, what the action does, it transforms the photo into the aquarelle or the watercolor effect, and the results that you get are fully layered, so there is a lot of options for customizing the results. And the action is also created so that every time you run the action you'll get a unique result, even if you use the same brush area. So you always get unique watercolor variation, and the action also creates even 40 preset color looks that you can choose from. Alright, so let me just close these two windows now. So after you open up your photo, before you use the action, there are just a few things that you should check just to make sure that the action will run without any errors. So the first thing you should check is that your photo is the background layer. So it should be called the background and have this little lock icon. So if you have something like this or anything else, just go to layer, new, and choose a background from layer. Then click on this menu icon over here and choose panel options, and just make sure that this option here, the add copy to copied layers groups, is checked. Then go to image mode and make sure your photo is the RGB color mode 8-bit channel. You can also check the image size from here. So for best results, you should use the images that are somewhere between 20 and 40, 4500 pixels wide or high. Okay. So what you need to check more is to choose here the art history brush tool, and just make sure that you got the same settings as I have here. So mode should be set to normal, opacity to 100%. These two icons should be unchecked, and the style should be set to tight short, area to 50 pixels, and tolerance to 0%. Okay. Now you can just go to Window Actions to open up the Actions panel. Click on this menu icon over here, choose Load Actions, and just choose the action from a folder according to a Photoshop version. Select the action file, choose Load, and the action will appear here in your Actions panel. Then you can just hit B on your keyboard to select the brush tool. Right click anywhere inside the canvas, then click on the gear icon, load brushes, and again just choose the brushes from a folder according to a Photoshop version. Choose Load, and the brushes will appear here in your brushes panel. And now just choose the pattern stamp tool from here. Click on this little arrow icon, gear icon, then load patterns, and again choose the pattern, a file from the folder according to the Photoshop version. Choose Load, and there will be one pattern loaded here in your patterns panel. And all you have to do now is just to go to Layer, New Layer to create a new layer, and name this layer Brush. All letters must be lowercase, alright, because otherwise the action won't work. So you need to type the word brush exactly like this. Choose OK. And now while the brush layer is selected, you can just hit B on your keyboard, select the brush tool, right click anywhere inside the canvas, and pick a soft brush, choose any color pick doesn't matter, and simply brush over your subject with a color, just like this. Right? You can quickly change the size of the brush by using the square brackets on the keyboard where you need the more detail brushing. Alright, so I'm just gonna open up my PSD file where I already done the brushing before. Alright, so here it is, and as you can see, you don't have to be much precise with the brushing, and all you have to do now is just select the Aquarelle 2 action inside the folder and click play. And I'm going to fasten the video here, and I'm going to get back as soon as the action is finished, and then I'm going to go through all the layers to show you how each layer works, how it affects the design, and how you can customize it. Alright? Alright, so the action has just finished, so I'm just going to close the Actions panel, and the first thing that you probably want to do each time you run the action is to just quickly close down all these folders. So how can you quickly do that? You just hold Ctrl and Alt buttons for PC or Command Option for a Mac, and while this folder is selected, just click on this little arrow here, and that way we're going to close down all the folders. So I'm going to start customizing this effect from the bottom. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to hide all these layers, and the first layer that we got here is the original photo layer, the background layer. So next what we got here is the background watercolor, and what you can do here is that you can play with the opacities of these layers or hide some layers to reveal a different look. When you go from the bottom to the top, you will see that every next layer is going to reveal more and more details. right? But also create a um, different textures and different effect, right? So how you change the opacity is you just select the layer, and you can either click on this arrow here and move this slider around, or you can just click on the word opacity and drag it aside. All right. So what I'm going to do is I'm just gonna change the opacity of this layer here, and on this one too. So I'm just gonna keep the other layers as default. So you can change the opacities here. You can hide some layers. You can also select the layer mask of any of those layers. Um, pick a brush tool, choose a soft brush, set foreground color to black, and simply brush over the area where you wish to remove the specific layer. Right? So if there is some detail that you wish to remove from some texture, you can just select that layer, select the layer mask of that layer, and then just simply brush to delete, or you can change foreground color to white and brush to reveal again the layer on those areas. Okay, so the next one we got here is the subject watercolor. So these layers, this photo is also layered, as you can see. So these layers here are creating the watercolor effect only over the subject area, thanks to these layer masks that you can shift click to disable them, and then you'll apply these effect of these layers to the whole photo. And what you can do here is you can again change the opacities. These layers should give a little bit more details to the subject, right? Just like that. And now I'm just going to skip over this layer and go to the subject details layer. Right, so this folder is going to really reveal a lot of details of your subject. And when you open up the folder, you will find that you got here the black edges, you got the white edges, and you got the reveal details layer. So what you can do is you can play with the opacity of these layers, right, to reveal details as you like. So I'm just going to increase the opacity a little bit to reveal more details. Alright, just like that. And what we got here is the layer mask. And if you open the properties panel, you'll see that the density of this layer mask is set to 80%. So if it was set to 100%, then these layers will be visible only where the subject area is, right, or the brush area. However, when it's set to 80%, these layers are slightly visible outside of this area too. If you set density to 0%, then this layer will be completely visible over the whole photo. All right. So you can control with the density here, how much you wish that these details are visible outside of your subject area. Okay. So I'm going to set it like this. Again, you have the layer mask here for these layers too, so you can remove any specific part of these layers if you like. Okay. And what we got here is the reveal original photo brush white into the mask layer. So when you turn off and on this layer, you see that nothing actually happens because this layer has a layer mask here. So what you do is you select the layer mask, pick a brush tool, set foreground color to white, and as it said here in the name, you brush white into the mask. You brush white into the mask over the areas where you wish to reveal the details more. You're actually going to reveal the original photo with some
subtle effects added. So just gonna adjust the brush size, and I'm going to brush a little bit, just a little bit more details. Right, just like that. And if you wish to remove some details, for example, we wish to remove some details here, but you wish them to be less visible than the other details, you can just lower the opacity of the brush, right? And you're going to reveal the details, but not as much as the main details that you wanted to reveal, right? So what you can also do here is you can change the opacity of this layer, right? The next one we got here are the textures, alright? So we got a two textures layer here, right? So one is the a pure canvas texture, and here we got another one, right? So what you can do again is you can play with the opacities of these layers. Alright, these details are visible better when you zoom in your photo. As they are subtle details. Okay, so the next one we got here are the color looks. So as I had mentioned at the beginning of the video, you can choose from 40 preset color looks. Alright, so this color looks here is turned on by default, and all you have to do is to select any of the color looks here, turn it on, see how it looks. If you don't like it, simply try with another until you find one that goes best with your photo. And what you can also do is you can combine a few of color looks. So for example, you turn on this one here, but you lower the opacity, and then you turn on another one, lower the opacity, and then create some unique color look. Alright, and in this example I'm going to use this one here. I'm going to keep the opacity at default. And what we got here is the randomized colors layer. So you can double click on this layer thumbnail here, and you can change the hue value to quickly randomize the colors of your photo and get some interesting results. Alright. The next one we got here is the overall brightness. So when you double click here, you can adjust the brightness using these 5 sliders over here. So this one here is going to boost the shadows of your photo. This one is boosting the highlights, and you can use this one here to control the midtones. Okay. And this one here is fading the shadows. This one here is fading the highlights. So you can use them to adjust the brightness as you like. I'm going to set it like this. And the next layer we got here is the overall contrast. So how you adjust the contrast is you change the opacity. So you're just going to click on the word opacity and drag it aside. Alright. The next we got here is the overall vibrance and saturation layer. So you double click here, and using these 2 sliders you can adjust the vibrance and the saturation of your photo. Okay. And last we got the overall sharpening layer. Now if you made any changes to the layers here, you changed for example the opacity of some layer, removed some area of some layer, and or literally made any other changes, you should create this layer again, because as you can see, if I move this layer around, you will see all these lines. These are the lines that are giving the sharpening to the photo. But when you make some changes to the photo, these lines needs to be updated as well. So you just delete this layer and press Ctrl Alt Shift and D, or Command Option Shift and D on your keyboard to make a screenshot. Then press Ctrl or Command Shift U to saturate this layer. You go to Filter, Other, High Pass, set radius to 2 pixels, and just change the blending mode of this layer to soft light. Okay. what you can do now is you can adjust the amount of sharpening by changing the opacity. I'm going to leave it default. What you can also do now is, if you like, you can add some text. So I'm going to use this font over here, and just going to add some text over here. I'm going to press Control Command J on my keyboard to duplicate this layer, then select this text and just gonna decrease the size. Alright, and to change the color, you can just double click on the layer and choose the color from here. Now you can choose any color, and what I like to do is to use some color from the photo. Alright, so using this color picker, you can just click anywhere of your photo to pick some color. And then you can readjust the color. Okay, and I'm going to change the color, this one here. Okay, so that's it. And let's just quickly check the before and after. So I'm just gonna duplicate this layer here. So this was the before photo, and here is the after. Alright, and if you want to play the action again, what you can do is you can just delete all these layers here and just leave the brush and background layer, and just select the action, click play, and as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, you're going to get a unique result. So you'll get a unique textures variation each time you run the action. Alright, so I hope you understood everything, but if you still need any help or you got any questions, feel free to contact me anytime via my Envato profile page. Thanks for watching.